right, YouTube, this is the Great Simulator here. I know it's been a while, but I am back with another Life on the Road van expediting video. If you haven't already, first of all, please hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Well, I dropped off my load in Gordonsville, Tennessee, which is about 50 miles east of Nashville, Tennessee. And as you've seen from the beginning of the video, that has to be the most stressful drive I have ever been in. And perhaps one of the most stressful things about this job. As you've seen from the video at the beginning, the roads were very narrow. And I mean, I've driven narrow roads before, don't get me wrong. Not even like maybe 2-3 weeks ago. I done it in almost the same area that I was just in. But never have I had to deal with something like that where there was a considerable dip in the road, not in the road, but on the side of the road per se, like, you know, where there would normally be a shoulder at, it was probably a good 1 foot drop. So pretty much, you know, right out the bat, if you ever want to wake up while driving, you know, if you feel yourself getting sleepy and you need to, you know, wake up real quick, go down one of them roads. You know, I don't want to say at nighttime, but if it's during the daytime, definitely go down one of them roads, and it will quickly wake you up. Because I was getting tired, because earlier today I woke up at like 5 in the morning. I dropped my load off. I went from Toledo to Detroit. I dropped that load off, and then I sat for maybe an hour. And then my job called, you know, telling me to go back to Toledo to pick up a load going to where I'm at now in Gordonsville, Tennessee. Of course I took it. I didn't want to turn it down. But mind you, I've been up since 5 in the morning. I only had like 4 hours of sleep. And I was tired. You know, I was rocking, I was rolling. You know, I got down here, you know, I took me a little hour or so nap, you know, and it got me going. Well, probably within the last 2 hours, then I started getting tired again. I knew I couldn't take a nap because I didn't want to hear dispatch in my ear about stopping constantly. So I ended up getting tired, but going down one of them roads, it wakes you up real quick, because I feel like this, if you fall asleep on a road like that, you're not waking up. Because that road, like I said, is entirely too narrow, and you know, some parts of it has them 1 foot drops where, you know, if you know, drift a little bit and you hit one of them drops, you're not coming out from it. Your van is not coming out from it. And if it does, it's going to have severe damage. You know, somewhere underneath that van going to be damaged. You know, I won't be surprised if you know, puncture your fuel tank, you know, bust your brake lines, you know, or break your leaf springs, or, you know, it's that, you know, that drive was just so stressful. And, you know, if it's any advice I have to, you know, anybody that drives down those roads, preferably do it during the day, if at all possible. I mean, I know sometimes you can't avoid it. You know, like the time before this, I couldn't avoid it, and I had to drive down, you know, a similar road like that at nighttime where there was no lights. I had to turn on my brights, and then my brights wasn't really all that great. So definitely advice number 1, do that drive during the day if you can. You know, I think that's about almost half the battle. 2, take your time. Take your time. And you'll be surprised, some of them roads, you know, will be like 40, 50, 55 miles an hour. And you're looking like, there is no way I'm going to be doing 55 miles an hour down this road, down this curvy road. It almost reminds me like an American Truck Simulator for those of you, that played the game that follows my channel. You all know firsthand there are some roads in that game that say 55 miles an hour, especially sometimes in California. And it's like, well, there's no way you're going to go 55 down them roads. So that's the same way how some of these side roads are that are very narrow. They're very narrow, and then they still expect you to go 40, 45, 50 miles an hour. And it's like, there's no way you can do that. At least not in a Sprinter van. I mean, maybe if you drive a Mustang or, a little, Prius maybe, but, I don't see too many of those anymore anyway. I don't see too many Priuses anymore. But anyway, I guess if you're driving a car like that, maybe, you'll be all right. But in a Sprinter van or anything bigger, I just see it being very difficult to, achieve those speeds going down that kind of road. So, like I said, definitely take your time if you're going to go down such a road like that, day or night. Also, if there is an alternative route and you do not feel comfortable going down those narrow roads, take it. It might add an extra 20, 30 miles to your trip, but it'll take off some of the stress of having to worry about constantly, being on edge. I don't mind doing it for the most part. I don't mind taking those roads, but, it does keep me on edge every time. But at the same time, it sharpens my skills and also keeps me paying attention. It keeps me up. Because, again, I know that if I should go off on the side of this road, I'm going to be dead. Or if I drift off into the middle of the road, somebody coming at me 50 miles an hour, I'm going to be dead that way too. So I don't want that. I got a lot to live for, so that's not going to happen. Usually a key indication that you are going to be going down those roads at some point is if you're going to a town that's in between two cities. Like right now I dropped this outside of Nashville. Now ideally, if I wanted to avoid all of that, I could have came straight down I'm going to probably butcher this, but I could have came straight down Interstate 65, which is what I was on before I jumped off and got on the country roads. So I could have took Interstate 65 probably all the way down to Interstate 40 and then cut over, and then, because literally the place where I dropped off at is right off the freeway. Like, it's literally right off the freeway. So I could have took Interstate 65 all the way down to the 40, to 40 east over, and then I would have avoided all those country roads, but it would have added 20, 30 miles to my trip. So I didn't want to do that, so I decided to, take the country roads. So, like I said, that's a pure indicator that you're going to be taking a lot of these country roads, as if you, are going to a place that's not in the major city. Now, if you're going to a place that's in a major city, 9 times out of 10, you don't have to worry about it. But, again, that has to be one of the most stressful things about the job, is going down them narrow roads, especially at nighttime. But, other than that, I've been doing good. I just came back from home time, June 14th, 13th, something like that. I'll be going back on home time for July 4th. So really this is only like a 2-week outing this time, but after I go home and come back, not going back home to the beginning of August, do my home time then, probably go home at the end of August, and then that'll be it until I do what I have to do in September. As time go on, I will let you know what it is I'm going to be doing in September, but I need all my days in September that I'm allowed to get. So that's all I'm going to say about that right now. Again, if you haven't already, hit that like, hit that subscribe button, and I am about to eat my food, which, I tell you what, Pilot is trying to step their game up, because earlier I went to a Pilot in Vandalia, Ohio on my way down here, They have smoked chicken now. Like their chicken wings, they're smoked. They're not breaded. They tasted really, really good. I can only imagine if they were fresh, they were probably been out the park. But then they had this. Can't see it, but beef pot roast. Never seen that there before. So I went in here, grabbed it, grabbed some hot sauce, Tabasco sauce, and I'm gonna see how it tastes. And maybe if I remember in the next video, I'll let you guys know how it tastes. But if you haven't already, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. And until next time, take care.